I think when they look at it, they'll say that people are paying taxes on the interest that they receive, and so it's not that deductible interest doesn't generate tax revenue, because obviously when people receive the people who lend the money and receive it are paying taxes on that. So I think it's not clear to me that it makes sense not to have that be deductible, because then you'd be double taxing it.
I would assume you would be opposed to that. It's an important part of your business.
Right. But again, as we look at the big picture, I think what many of us are seeing is the opportunity to put in place a set of policies that can be embraced by both sides of the aisle, by both Democrats and Republicans, that are really focused on the ability to get this country moving again. And what we need to do is think out of the box. I think that's another signal that we've got from this election,
so
which is there was a rejection of business as usual.
So out of the box would be what?
And out of the box would be significant tax simplification. Out of the box would be significant deregulation while still maintaining the appropriate control to avoid the excesses that we saw back in the middle part of the last decade, but to allow business to grow with a real emphasis on providing jobs for many of the people who can't find them today, and the appropriate level of training for many others, so that we have people who can fill jobs that may have higher technical requirements that currently we don't have people for.
But you mentioned jobs, and of course that is a focus of the incoming administration, as it is of every administration. Right. The president-elect has been tweeting about this. I wonder, in private equity, where oftentimes a company is acquired and costs are cut, efficiency is introduced, and that can often result in job losses. But is that another concern for you? I mean, it seems like job losses may be, you may not be allowed to do that anymore.
Right, with the purposes of growth. And again, I think one of the things that we've seen is there's a role for government, but there's an appropriate role for government. And it's not to micromanage businesses in that way. Now, I think the signal that the president-elect has sent is that if we put in place a set of policies that allow business to participate in the United States with lower costs, so lower cost of taxes, lower cost of regulation, you can pay wage rates that are higher than you would pay someplace else.
But is it a slippery slope when you threaten companies and say, hey, if you ship jobs overseas?
I think the key part is to put in place a set of policies that encourage companies to participate and make it attractive for them to be in the United States. We have a great workforce, we have a great entrepreneurial climate and environment, and therefore I think it's a good place to be. But the burden that companies face often is not the employee wage rate solely. It's actually the very highest in the world about
it's a tax rate
tax
that's
rates.
Very high.
It's a regulatory burden that has grown exponentially over the course of the last 8 years. So if we change those things, then I think we can pay the wage rates that people in this country need to have a strong, vibrant middle class. A vibrant middle class that will demand more goods and services and therefore generate more business.
Growth.
So I think it all plays together, but we need to make that leap. And again, the leap is that we have big problems and we need big answers to it.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.